Hey, this is Rex Raptor, and I've got a Fluffal Frightfur deck profile for the spooky month of October for Halloween upcoming. You know, cool, everything like that. I'm gonna be doing this deck profile because this is a deck that I've really liked for a long time. There's been some updates. It's been a long time since I profiled it, and I figured this is kind of maybe gonna be the last big deck profile for a while because I'm kind of moved over to anime content in general. If you like that, check some of it out. Stick around. If you're here for the deck profile, yeah, enjoy it, and if you're a longtime fan, enjoy it, and this will be the send-off, maybe. I might do a few more deck profiles, but let me start before I spend too much time talking. So this deck is very monster heavy, very spell heavy. So for monsters, let's start off with the 3 Fluffal Wings, 3 Fluffal Bears, and then 3 Fluffal Penguins. Can't exactly see the bear, come on, Winnie the Pooh, Mr. Chinese president dude. Alright, so Fluffal Wings is a really good card. You want it in the graveyard to be able to get its effect. Because if you control a Toy Vendor, which Toy Vendor is a really important card in the deck, you can banish with Wings' effect to send to the graveyard and draw a card. And then Toy Vendor is great in the graveyard because it gets cards. Fluffal Bear, you know, pretty typical Fluffal monster, and if it's in the hand, you can discard it to search for a Toy Vendor. And then Penguin, when he's used as a fusion material, you get to draw 2 cards and then discard a card. So these are some of the most important cards in the deck in terms of cycling through things, right? Because Wings helps you draw cards with Toy Vendor. Bear helps you get Toy Vendor, and you know, Bear's in the graveyard, so typically like things you can do, discard Bear, search Toy Vendor, and then if you can get Wings to the graveyard, then you can banish Bear and start cycling things further. And again, Fluffal Penguin just helps you draw 2 cards and can get rid of your Toy Vendor, because if one of the cards you discard is a Toy Vendor, hey, you get to get more there. If you don't know what Toy Vendor does, we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, these are probably the most, like, this is kind of the core to the deck. You might see some other numbers in different deck profiles. I think just, you know, max out at 3, it's fine. Because if you have them in your hand, you'll typically end up using them. Unless, like, you know, for some terrible reason, you have like a handful of these. You can still maybe get something started, but it's not ideal. After that, the next 3 of is 3 Fluffal Dog. And Dog's just kind of a basic monster that was, when it's summoned, you can search for a Fluffal or an Edge Imp card from your deck and add it from your deck to your hand. So it's just pretty useful in getting to add any of these. Again, you know, Dog is helpful because you can get these to your hand, but it's a good 3 of, but it's not as important as the other things. It helps you get to the other things. After that, a 1 Cat and a 1 Owl. Owl is just an additional polymerization, basically, if it's on the field. There are some instances where say you're not able to activate a polymerization, then you can pay 500 and fuse with Owl's effect. It's not bad. And then Fluffal Cat is a good card because when sent to the graveyard as a fusion material, you get to add a polymerization from your graveyard back to your hand, so it just helps you get polymerization. So it's just additional monsters, and again, they're just extra Fluffal names. But that is it for all the Fluffal monsters. Again, you know, it goes pretty hard into the monsters. I'm doing 3 of everything, and then 2 of these. Again, you can mix up the numbers to whatever you want, but that's it for the Fluffals. For additional monsters, we've got 1 Edge Imp Sabers, still part of the archetype. 3 Edge Imp Chains. Sabers is mostly just used because it's required for some fusion materials. You can get, like, 1's fine because you can end up recycling it. Its own ability allows you to recycle it, which isn't an amazing ability, but it's still there nonetheless. Chain is really good because Chain's a generic Edge Imp. They do have the effect that, like, oh, if, you know, one declares an attack, you could dispatch them another, but that's, like, sort of irrelevant. The main thing is that if it's sent to the graveyard, then you can add a Frightfur card from your deck to your hand, and that just really helps with getting your spells. And then after that, our hand traps should be 3 Ash Blossom or whatever you want to do. I don't have a 3rd Ash Blossom for whatever reason, so Ghost Ogre. But whatever mixture you want to do. Again, you know, it's all up to you. As long as you're playing the same basic core of monsters, you should be fine. And that's it for the monsters. Now, the entire rest of the deck is spells from here on out, so let's go over them. We've got 3 Frightfur Patchwork, 3 Toy Vendor, 3 Polymerization, 3 Foolish Burial Goods. Those are the 3 of for spells. Let me talk about them. So Frightfur Patchwork is probably one of the really good cards, and like one of the best cards in the deck, and it's been a while. It took a while for the deck to get it, but finally it has it, so hey, that's great. It's a great card because you get to add an Edge Imp and a polymerization card from your deck to your hands, which just helps getting your fusion things. You can get your polymerization, get your Edge of Chain or your Edge of Sabers. It's good because, you know, since we only play one Edge of Sabers, because it's not very good, lets you add that. So it's just very useful. Toy Vendor is a funky card, but the main important thing is that if it's sent to the graveyard, it just nets you a plus. There is an additional effect that, like, yeah, you can use, and I remember when, like, the deck originally came out, it was really weird and really funky. It's like, with the top card of your deck being able to special summon, but again, it's weird. The thing is, you just want it to the graveyard, and that's why we play the 3 Foolish Burial Goods, because you can just Foolish Burial Goods, send Toy Vendor to the graveyard. Again, you can have an active Toy Vendor for effects like Wings, or you can just search it out with Bear. So that's really useful. Again, you know, if it's on the field, then Wings is going to get its effect, or you can use Bear to send and search it, add it to your hand. And again, you can discard it for certain effects. But most reliable, Foolish Burial, Toy Vendor, net your plus. And then 3 Polymerization, pretty self-explanatory, to be able to fusion summon your monsters. They have their own specific fusion spell, but there's more support for Polymerization, especially with, you know, Frightfur Patchwork. That's it for the 3 of spells. 4 additional spells: 2 Twin Twister, 2 Frightfur Fusion, 1 Frightfur Factory, 1 Instant Fusion, 1 Monster Reborn. Twin Twister, just helpful to be able to get, like, because this deck can OTK sometimes, or you can just, like, get big plays going. Twin Twisters is fine. And again, if you discard, you know, like, cards work in the graveyard, especially Toy Vendor, hey, that's cool. Frightfur Fusion allows you to summon, although it does banish the cards. And again, like I said, Polymerization is just kind of more useful, but Frightfur Fusion is there. And Frightfur Factory is kind of like another fusion card. It's a continuous spell, but you can banish a Polymerization or a fusion card in your graveyard to fusion summon. So it's just additional things. These can also be searched through other means, so they're just there for extra help. Instant Fusion, we do play 1 level 5 fusion in the extra deck, so you can bring that out very easily and then continue fusing on up there, because we've got some big monsters that require fusion monsters as fusion materials, and the Monster Reborn is just very reliable. And anyway, that's it for the main deck. And for the extra deck, I'm not specifically going to go over like a full extra deck, but let me just bring up the important stuff, especially with the Frightfur Fusions. This is what the deck is all about. You can play multiples of these. It's probably best to maybe just, maybe like 2 Tiger. Do you still need 2 Tiger nowadays? Sabertooth Tiger is, or not even Sabertooth, Frightfur Sabertooth is probably the most important one. Again, you know, this sheep is a level 5. It can be useful. It was pretty neat. It used to be pretty good, but mostly it's a level 5 to bring out with instant fusion. Wolf is really good because it can attack multiple times. Frightfur Kraken is also really good because once per turn you can just straight up send an opponent's monster to the graveyard. It can attack directly the turn you do that, but it's also able to make 2 attacks, just generally. Can't make, like, if you don't send anything to the graveyard, you can just make 2 attacks directly if you need to. Tiger is able to pop. Actually, you know, Wolf and Tiger can take multiple fusion monsters aside from the specific Edge and Sabers that they need. And depending on what they get, Wolf can attack multiple times. Tiger can destroy multiple cards. So very useful. And again, you know, that's where the OTK potential comes in, because you can, you know, Wolf and Tiger, hey, they can do OTK stuff. Sabertooth Tiger is a big one. And again, it does need a fusion monster as fusion material. But when it is summoned, you get to special summon a fusion monster from the graveyard. So you can bring back a one of the materials that you use to summon it, so it's pretty good. It does have the effect that, like, it can take more fusion monsters, right, or fusion materials to summon it, and if you use 3 or more, then it cannot be destroyed. So that's pretty useful. Aside from that, it also gives an attack boost to everything, and Tiger also gives attack boosts, if I remember correctly. Yeah, for whatever reason, because, you know, that's the point. Sabertooth is kind of like a combination of these, because, you know, you got Tiger and then Sabertooth Tiger, but Sabertooth is, again, the important one. Really, you can do like 1 of everything and then like 2 Sabertooth, and then the rest of the deck can be whatever you want, basically. Just any other Link monster that's useful. I've also got 1,000 Eyes. You can play the other 1,000 Eyes because you got Instant Fusion. I probably should have mentioned that also. Play like 2 Instant Fusion. I can't find my other Instant Fusion. But yeah, play 2 Instant Fusion, and then you can play 1,000 Eyes and the other 1,000 Eyes. But aside from that, like, it's all up to you, whatever you want to play, how much you want to play. This is what you need, though. The core fusion monsters, all the Frightfur stuff. They're really cool and really spooky. But anyway, that is it for the extra deck. So anyway, that's been it for the Fluffal Frightfur deck profile, whatever you want to call it. Main deck is Fluffal's, extra deck that has all the power is Frightfur, and it's all spooky and scary. But anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you have any suggestions for maybe like the next ban list or whatever, let me know. You have any cool ideas, any memories, any thoughts, leave those in the comments below. Again, I do want to remind you that I'm mostly an anime channel now. I'll probably be sticking to the YuGiOh anime, if at all, but you can check out some of my other videos, which are linked in the description below. They're on my channel, all that cool stuff, and your guys' support means a lot. Again, if you're here for YuGiOh stuff, they'll be in the YuGiOh anime. But while I'm here, let me show off. The scariest Frightfur. Mimikyu Pikachu. Sorry, I just wanted to show off so I can justify that purchase. But anyway, if you enjoyed the content, leave a like, subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking the bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out and will make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been Rex. Have a nice day.